like it to work with Coach Ligashesky early in the spring?
It's awesome. He brings a different experience and different mindset that's really helping me take my game to the next level, I think. He's an awesome dude. He's a big movie guy, so if you want a good movie to watch, hit up Coach Lig. He'll give you some good options.
What are some of the best options he's given you?
He gave me, what was that one called? Out of the Furnace. It's pretty good. And then Gray Man and Six Underground. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I got to watch them still, but those are some good ones that he gave me. Yeah.
When you think about last year going from being essentially reserve guy the year before to now Big Ten Kicker of the Year, what's it been like just going through that entire transition?
I mean, it's an amazing feeling. It's not all just me. I got to give big thanks to Crawford and Brady Weeks and all the protection up front. I always talk about like having Matthew Trickett here and how big of a help he was for me in taking my game to the next level. It's not just me doing that stuff, and it's an awesome feeling, a surreal feeling, and hopefully we can back it up this year.
Is the biggest thing you're working on then this year just consistency to try and build upon that, or what have you been working on?
That's the biggest thing, is just building consistency and also getting a lot of reps with Ryan Algram. With Brady Weeks being gone now, the trifecta's kind of done. So now we're building a new trifecta. So just getting a lot of reps with Ryan Algram and getting even more comfortable with Crawford.
How do you go about building chemistry when you have a new operation?
Just reps and reps and reps. When Algram get here, I think it's his second year here. So, I'm pretty comfortable with the guy. So it's just him getting reps in front of the team, in front of the head coach, with the protection around him. Just reps and reps and reps, and that's going to help us be successful in the fall.
What goes into becoming an elite special teams member? I know during spring ball, a lot of guys are running, doing a lot of different things. You guys are on the sidelines quite a bit of time. How do you improve your game?
So during those team periods and those group periods, it's kind of us being on the side, getting our individual work in. We get a majority of our work in pre-practice. We go out like 40, 45 minutes before the team does to get our reps in. But it's just staying ready, and like when we have play periods, when our name gets called, going out there and executing to show the team that we're actually doing work. We're not just chilling while they're going in those team periods and stuff like that.
What's been the biggest differences you've noticed between Wenger and Ligashesky?
That's a great question. I love both of them. Coach Lig and I built a relationship through high school, so like I knew Coach Lig. Coach Wenger was a great guy. So it's tough to pick a difference. They're both great guys, both great coordinators, both great coaches. I think Coach Lig just brings a different perspective through specialists. He's worked with a lot of great specialists, so he's helping us elevate our game in that sense.
Dragan, you operate in a lot of stressful situations. In your opinion, what's the biggest key to having success when things are tight and it's nerve-wracking?
Yeah, I think it's just trusting yourself, trusting your training. Like I always say, I trust the operation we have, and I have the utmost confidence in myself that whatever you put in front of me, I can get done, and I know that my teammates will support me. So, regardless of which way it goes, I know that, my family's going to support me. I know my teammates are going to support me, and if it goes wrong, we can get it fixed. And if it goes right, then, everybody loves it. So I think it's just a big thing is just trusting yourself.
When you speak to people that play the game, they always say that kickers have to be somewhat silly, somewhat loosey-goosey. How would your teammates describe you?
Silly. That's a good question. I don't even know. I think you get a bunch of different answers from a bunch of different people. I try to outgoing. I try to be myself around everybody. I am myself around everybody. I don't let the circumstances dictate my behavior. It's kind of a thing in the specialist world. Specialists are kind of weird. We have a kind of weird group. We have a 31-year-old, and we have a 17-year-old, 30, and a 17-year-old coming in the fall. So it's like we got a big variety. We got a lot of personality in that group, and it's a fun thing to be a part of. Not many people realize that being a specialist is fun. It's a great time.
Do you believe in icing the kicker?
No. No, I don't believe in that. I think it just gives me more time to be ready.
So say somebody calls a timeout.
Yeah.
For end of half, end of game kick.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about during that time? Because we obviously see the kickers out there just swinging the leg.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind?
Well, because now you can only call like one timeout. So like I know I'm going to have to kick that kick. So like I don't know what the other guys do. I think they go off to the sideline and kind of just chat. but I'm just sitting there just talking to myself, telling myself to get ready. You know, you live for those moments as a kicker, as it being a big walk-off field goal like that. So I think it's just, I tell myself, be ready. This is your shot. Let's go do it.
In a sense, do you feel like there's some form of like mental training that goes along with kicking to get yourself in that type of mindset?
Yeah, big time. I used to read a lot of books. Keyword used to. I saw sports psych a lot just to help with like getting my mentals right. You know, going into that role of being the place kicker where there's like, you make it, you're the hero, you miss it, you're the villain type of thing. So I think just getting your mentals right is a big part, because being mentally tough as a kicker, you can miss one, and then if you let that affect your next one, you're going to miss again. So it's all about responding.
How would you describe your bond with Mark?
Awesome, fun, cool. You know, him and I recently bought a dartboard. We've been playing darts a lot. It's pretty competitive in that household. But yeah, I mean, he's like a big brother. You know, he's 7 years older than me, 8 years older than me. So I mean, he kind of keeps me in check. I run a lot of ideas by him before I do it, because he's seen a lot more life than I have. But yeah, he helps me a lot. He helps me tremendously. A lot of my success I got to give to him, because, you know, if he doesn't get the ball down on holds, you know, it doesn't really give me an opportunity to hit the ball. So I mean, I'm grateful for the bond that him and I have built, and it's gonna be one for the rest of my life.
Who's a better dart player?
Me. You can ask him that question, he's gonna say him, but if you look at the record, I think it's me.
Who has the most personality on the team out of the position groups? Which position group?
Nah, not quarterbacks. Could be wide receivers, O-line maybe. Nah, specialist. It's our group. Our group. We have, yeah, I would say specialist.
All right, the floor is yours. Who's better at darts?
Dragan started hot, really hot. I think I pulled it back with about 10 in a row for a while there. But it's probably even, honestly, if we look into it.
What's it like to rent a car at a pretty reasonable rate now?
No renting for me. I don't have to worry about driving too much, fortunately.
What's the biggest difference you've noticed from Wenger to Ligashesky?
I mean, different perspectives in terms of experience as well. I think Coach Wenger had sort of been around college football his whole life, and Coach League's been in the league a little bit as well, so a little bit of added experience. But fundamentally for me, it's a pretty similar process. I just want to catch the ball, put it on my foot, and get it up there and out there, just to make sure that we put the team in the best position. So ultimately, it's pretty similar, honestly.
Mark, what are some of the elements of your game that you're focused on improving as you go from spring into the season here now that you've been around a while?
Versatility again, and consistency. The two major ones, really. I mean, every specialist will probably say the same thing. Consistency is one of the most important things. Our process is sort of really down to ourselves more than anyone else. I mean, wideouts, they got to rely on the quarterback to throw them the ball, and then you got, you know, running backs, they might have different looks all the time, whereas for punting and kicking, you want to put it through the uprights, and I want to put it to the sideline to avoid the returns. So yeah, it's consistency is the big one, and then obviously you want to pump up the yards per punt and things like that all the time if you can.
Mark, if you after this year, if you don't play at the next level, what's next for you?
Great question. Haven't thought about that too much at this rate, but I'm fortunate enough to be in the master's program now, Human Resources, Industrial Relations. So, you know, love being here, love being at school, and enjoying studying. I study for as long as I can, play football for as long as I can. So, yeah, I'll look to potentially go into that sort of field. Should I not be playing any more football, for sure?
Given your age, was there any hesitation about coming back for another year?
No hesitation. None whatsoever. I want to ride this wave as long as I can. I mean, I can play football for sort of this period of my life, and I can't get to, you know, 20 years from now and be like, oh, I might try and go play a bit more football. So that's always the philosophy, and yeah, I don't really look at the fact that I'm 30 years old too much right now.
What's it like being 30 years old around your teammates? Do they consistently remind you of that, or what do you learn from them? Every now and then, there's certainly guys that'll say, hold on, Dad, or like, take it easy, you've seen a little bit more. But ultimately speaking, I think it's just a nice sort of transition to see guys that are sort of 18, 19, and then they come through to be 23, 24, and I see how they develop. And I mean, ultimately, when I first got here, there was certainly a lot of connection with some of those older guys straight away, which
sort of newcomers don't really get. So that was pretty cool. But they helped keep me young. The guy over there, Dragan, that just spoke before, he's one of the best characters you'll ever meet, and obviously that's really important to me to be able to match his energy, because he certainly brings it.
You have a unique relationship with, say, your gunner, because obviously you put the ball up into the air, but if he can't get it down inside the 5, inside the 10, do you spend maybe a little bit more time working with him and him learning how maybe the ball bounces off your foot maybe a little bit differently?
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting dynamic. I mean, whether we want to catch it on the full, whether we want to have it roll, it's all depends on the circumstance and where I put the ball, because ultimately that'll start with me. I got to put it inside the 10 for him to be able to stop it inside the 10 or the 5. So it's certainly something we work on. It's a pretty big preseason sort of ordeal, like off the outside of training camp and things like that. We have to get a lot of that in, because during training camp, obviously everyone's working on their own thing. So that's a year-long process that we want to improve as well.
I don't think people notice all the time the different snapping distances, how sometimes they vary. How does that impact the whole operational time, your process from start to finish?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't really think that, I've considered it too much. Obviously, it would make a difference, when I'm at sort of whatever yardage. Like, the closer I am, the faster the ball's going to get to me, which will ultimately sort of give me more time or change the operation time in general. So, I sort of just make sure that I'm able to read the situation and understand what's in front of me and go from there.
When you think back to the bowl game with Dragan trying to obviously get over in for the 2-point conversion, how much did you give him as a former rugby player? About maybe we try to go through instead of trying to jump.
Well, I mean, I'm sort of on his side in that if that guy's ankle wasn't there, he was in. So it comes back down to that. But I think honestly, Dragan's probably a pretty good athlete for that sort of situation. So I don't give him too much rubbish, because he's got something to say. Apparently.
I was in.
How much are you campaigning, being 6'4", 30 years old, former rugby guy, trying to get a fake punt in this year?
Always pushing for it. Always pushing for it. Something to have up the back pocket for sure. Yeah, I'd love to get involved, but we'll see. The circumstance takes and the situation takes precedence.
Say a lot of Americans may be a little bit hesitant on Australia because of the bug size. Are they as giant as they look in all the viral videos?
I think I remember having this conversation with you about a month ago, but I mean, it really depends where you go. I mean, everyone's sort of so scared of the bugs and the snakes and things like that. But I tell people, if you stay in the city, like, you'll probably be just fine. It's pretty much the same as here. I mean, they've got scorpions and snakes in Arizona, but if you're walking down Scottsdale, the main strip of Scottsdale, I'm pretty sure you're not going to run into any snakes or scorpions there, or it'd be unlikely. So, yeah.
How would you describe your confidence now going into this year compared to when you first got here, and your ability to be consistent and make big punts, kicks?
Yeah, for sure. I think with confidence, it sort of just comes back down to this time of year. I always think, one thing I've learned is probably the time that you get outside of the season to perfect some sort of craft is probably just as important as how you perform on the field. So understanding the fundamentals and getting that down pat, and making sure that you're confident going into the season or into camp or whatever, that'll go a long way to making sure that confidence remains high. And fortunately, there's a great bunch of guys around me, and I got Dragan as a great companion there, and Ryan Algram, long snapping Brady Weeks for a long time, and then obviously got all the coaches, which really beneficial.
Your punt unit finished 5th in the Big Ten last year. What's the goal for 2024?
Number 1. Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I'm not too necessarily worried about where I rank or where I sit or whatever, but certainly goals and expectations that you want to be able to meet for your own personal standard. And I always sort of look at it like some guys have way more pooch punts or going in punts, which obviously affects things like numbers. But ultimately speaking, if we win the field position battle, like, my job's done, and that's the ultimate goal there. So.
You just spoke about the off season and maximizing the time you guys have to perfect a certain craft. For you, have you noticed, being older, that it may take your body a little bit more time to recover, and how important that is at this age?
Yeah, I'm on the old man card now, so I don't have to worry too much about too much running. But no, it's. I don't think I've really noticed it a whole lot, but maybe in terms of things like metabolism, like I see what some of the other guys eat, and I'm like, wow, you can eat all that and still do that. I'd be sort of 400 pounds by now, but no, realistically speaking, great training staff, great athletic staff, and they take care of me, and I make sure that I repay them by making sure that I'm fit and healthy.
Any more questions?